Among them, the lord of the manor, leaving his widow, Lady Rose de Saxham, to cope with the crisis.
Death took my good husband and killed more than a third of the men, women and children in the village. There is now such a shortage of servants, craftsmen, and of agricultural labourers that a great many of us lords and those well endowed with goods and possessions are without all service and attendance.
Across the board, it looks like half the population dying in England. You can look at the clergy, because there's evidence for replacing those that died. And that looks like 40 to 50%. You can then look at individual villages, and you can find some places with real horror. Jarrow, about 80% of the population died.
The huge death toll among labourers paralysed rural life. Some villages were abandoned, farmsteads fell into ruin, and fields were left fallow.
We've always got to remember the profoundly grief-stricken condition they must have been in after the Black Death, the awful darkness of those months when the Black Death was carrying people off in their village, in their town, wherever it might be. But nevertheless, families like the Dennies, these peasant families, do get their act together pretty quickly.
Land lying waste is committed to the village until another tenant can be found. Well, it's happening all over the manor. For those of us left alive, there is bounty. Our world is changing.
Gradually, the surviving peasants began to reap unforeseen advantages from death's vigour. They were in demand and could ask for higher wages and cheaper rents.
Before the Black Death, labour was plentiful, labour was cheap. After the Black Death, it was very, very difficult. You simply couldn't get people to come to do the jobs. You couldn't get people to cut your corn, to thresh it. You couldn't find people to repair your roof unless you paid them 2 or 3 or even 4 times the wages you'd paid them before.
Across the land, agricultural labourers threw off the shackles of the past. The old order of the English landscape was changing.
I've heard from the next parish that 12 labourers, women and men, have abandoned their lord for higher wages elsewhere. The jury's found them in contempt of the king, but they're long gone. The law will not catch up with them.
The feudal certainties were crumbling. The bonds of service were being strained to breaking point. The establishment itself was under threat.
I have suffered unbearably at the hands of my labourers. This want is strongly felt both in my manor and throughout the whole of England, among lords and clergy alike. Because of it, the leading men of the kingdom appeared before the king and asked for some remedy for these problems to be ordained.
Runaway wages were bad news, and King Edward III's response was astonishingly swift. In 1349, as the pestilence raged, he commanded that workers accept wages at their 1346 levels. It was a sign of just how rattled the establishment felt. Commissions were set up around the country, fining people who were charging over the odds for their labour. But the laws of supply and demand proved too strong. The Black Death was forcing social and economic change on an unwilling ruling class. But those at the bottom of the heap sniffed opportunity and a new age.
This is a political threat to the whole sort of ordering of society. This is more than just, I'm not going to get enough money this year. This is, potentially very destabilising to the political system, really, in medieval England.
Despite the best efforts of king and country to stop it, the Black Death had caused the world to move on.